Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Warframe showcase, and today we will be looking at Nyx Prime. On a side note, I know you might have been wondering if when we cover primes we'll be covering the originals. Yes, we will. Anyway guys, let's start it off slowly. Let's start with a passive. Nyx's passive: enemies are 20% less accurate when targeting Nyx Prime. Her first ability, Mind Control. Nyx invades the psyche of her target, confusing enemies and making them fight for the Tenno cause. But, as you can see right there, Nyx receives a damage multiplier. That is very helpful, so you know that you want to be firing constantly, and I'm going to show you a little trick. Ahead of time, you can do it with some high damage weapons and get it really high to increase the damage output of the mind control target. A second ability, Psychic Bolts. Nyx launches a cluster of focus bolts at an enemy using telekinesis to adjust flight path and seek nearby enemies. Hits strip some enemies' defenses. Keep in mind they said defenses, so that includes shield and armor. Third of all, we're going into chaos. With a powerful psychic blast, Nyx causes a mass hysteria on the battlefield by confusing all enemies to attack random factions. This still includes you, keep in mind, but not every enemy in the area will be fighting you, so it reduces the damage you take, but not outright stops it. On top of that, once the duration is over, they will snap back onto you and begin firing. And Nyx's ultimate ability, Absorb. Nyx absorbs all incoming damage and channels that collective energy into an explosive radial discharge. Nyx's weapon damage is buffed based on the incoming absorbed damage when the ability ends. As you can see, she's very crowd control heavy, and she will most likely, she's not a huge kill frame, she's not a huge DPS. She's mostly a combination of buff, crowd control, and I would say confusion, but that goes over the same thing. And anyway guys, let's take a quick look at it. And currently, as you can see, let's actually start off with Psychic Bolts. I know we're actually starting off in the wrong order. Never mind, we're gonna start off with first. I'm gonna need 2 enemies to demonstrate. And then sounds like saying an enemy. Now, if we can actually get near one, I only landed 2 of 3 shots I fired there, and as you can see, she does a lot. She gets a nice increase in damage because of that. And with Psychic Bolts, an easy gun down another heavy gunner. Might as well send her back where she came from. Notice, when removing it, they do take the full amount of damage dealt to them, so don't worry if your mind control target does actually come to their senses. They will die immediately, usually from all the bullets that they have taken. Next, we're going to show off chaos. As you see there, they all immediately hold their heads and begin firing upon one another. I don't think I caught the ones over there. But as you can see, the after effects of Nyx, and it depends whether or not you have the Prime version or the original version. Well, you know what I mean, the mass manufactured version. But as you see, they're not doing a lot of damage to each other. We're gonna help that out. So you can have your main buff unit be on your side. And while you're waiting for all the turmoil to go away, I'm actually loving the changes to the weapon damage buff because I thought that would have been way worse. Oops, set off the map right there. But as you can see, it's a very good crowd control ability. But I guarantee you, it will not be the thing killing most enemies. But it does make for a very effective panic button when you're taking too much fire. Which doesn't really make much sense to me because she has a better panic button and that's her ult. Currently, as you can see by the build earlier in the video, I'm using her augment Simile, which cuts my movement speed, but I'm still able to move fairly quickly. Let's do that now. As you can see, even though this is a bunch of level 100, I'm not taking a lot of damage because they're always fixed on each other. But your energy management is what's gonna cost you the most. I do recommend you run Arcane Energize, or at least the Zeneric Focus tool, because you will be fighting a lot of enemies. And if you do not have the weapons, or maybe a I would think it would be good to subsume chaos for anything else that you could possibly receive for some area-wide damage. I don't really recommend the augment for it. I don't see it being helpful. Because you already cast it in such a wide radius, as is. Those Psychic Bolts is an effective armor strip. The way its armor stripping works is a little bit contained. First of all, there's a limited amount of enemies that you can actually use it on, but it is automatically homing. Anyway guys, we're gonna try it out against a pack of Steel Path heavy gunners. I actually think I want to recast that. Maybe one more. Trying to boost up the damage. It still makes them pretty squishy. Very, very squishy. Which is great, but Nyx ain't much of a tank herself. She's very much a glass cannon. But I still find her more useful than Banshee. And that wasn't so much as a kill, so much just a myriad of ragdoll. But as you can see, the chaos already wore off on most of them. But you see the problem? I'm not seeing the DPS potential at all. No DPS potential. I'm seeing a lot of crowd control, but we have a lot of crowd control. And she can take a hit. Currently I'm using adaptation and mostly shields to keep myself alive, and quick thinking for when I get caught off guard. Well, they're certainly breaking out of the mind control because they started paying attention again. Well, while we have these ones right here, see how much damage we could absorb. I think I just may have messed it up right there. How did he get up there? Let's see if the absorb will help that. And for protection, I'm going to cast Chaos before I leave. Absorb. Is the weapon damage bonus? Is it a weapon damage bonus? Because if it is, it sure ain't looking worth it. But that doesn't mean she can't lay down the damage with a good enough weapon. It's going to take you a while to clear out enemies. But she is mostly a crowd control frame. So if you're expecting high DPS, I have no idea why you're still watching. And right then I watched as they regain their shield. It doesn't mean she can't fight level 100 Steel Path. That's not the problem. The issue is how long does it stay viable. But then again, she's not a very hard frame to obtain. All you have to do is wait for an invasion, wait for forward, well, invasion by the infested. And usually if they take over, well, guaranteed if they take over a boss node, then they'll spawn forward and you could farm original Nyx right there. Nyx Prime, on the other hand, has been missing for the past 2 years. She's currently vaulted. But you can still probably find somebody in trade chat willing to sell her. Anyway guys, that has been Nyx Prime.